And the Milwaukee Mile and Milwaukee, Wisconsin, home also to Harley-Davidson as we see the Harley-Davidson drive by. It is time for life in a northern town. Cars rolling around the Milwaukee Mile. The next time by, we will see the green flag, and an amazing sight, I guess, as the cars make their way around this track. This track has been operational for over 100 years. It's the longest running track in the world.
It's amazing. I came here back for my brother to run a race back in 1967. Ray, what's going on down up here road, buddy?
Hey, Phil, just wanted to add real quick on Denny Hamlin. He is having radio problems. Whenever he got here, as Krista said, so late, he jumped in the car and they found out he didn't have his earbuds with him. So they ran him out to him right at the last second, and they found out this radio is not working very well. Could be a communication problem tonight. We'll let you know how it goes for Hamlin, who will start at the rear of the field.
That was a neat deal with him doing the helmet exchange. I know at a fundraising event that we were at, Phil, he was buying up a lot of drivers' helmets. So I'm guessing he's got a room in his house somewhere that he's just going to put all of these helmets that he has acquired. The pace truck will make its way to pit road. That means that we are about to get underway with the AT&T 250 from the Milwaukee Mile. Paul Menard brings the field to the green flag.
Qualified third, but because of Denny Hamlin having to move to the back, they just moved the inside row up. That allowed him to start in the pole. He's got the lead on the backstretch.
Almost started off like he didn't go. He wanted to go, and then he kind of quit. And he was fortunate that he was able to still stay ahead of Johnny Sauter going into, Johnny Sauter going into turn one, and was able to hold off the lead. Looks like he's got a pretty good jump right at the moment.
Guys, it's going to be so interesting to see how these fellas, and they had to go to the back, all these Nextel Cup regulars that had to go to the back, how quickly they are able to make their way to the front. In the meantime, we've got some great racing. That's the 41 of David Stremme on the inside. Always good at this racetrack, Johnny. Never been out of the top 5 in 3 starts here.
Yeah, that's a pretty amazing stat there. This place is very racy, as you're going to start to see Denny Hamlin coming from the back. At least at this point, you know, he hasn't been in a car, but he's running with a little bit slower traffic, so he should be able to get a pretty good handle on his car real quick, and within about 4 or 5 laps, he's going to know what he has throughout the event.
Well, he started 41st. After the first lap, he was 31st. That time by, he goes by in 29th, so he's slowing down as far as picking off the cars now.
Yeah, they get a little harder as you go, don't they, Johnny?
They do. You know, as he's coming up, they will get harder and harder. But there's also a lot of 2 wide, sometimes looks like 3 wide racing. So he's going to have to just pick and choose his spot, be patient, although he's not really trying that right at the moment. But he's gonna find out what he has. And even if he can't talk to the crew right now, they've got a great race car. They may not have to do a lot of adjustments to this car.
On his inside, we see the 60. That's Carl Edwards also having to do the same thing, work his way from the back of the field to the front. They were not here for qualifying. The cars were qualified by other drivers. That means they were relegated to the back of the field to start.
That's the 49 of Derek Cope that Carl Edwards is trying to get by. For a moment, Denny Hamlin, the 20, was pinned behind Derek. He pulls down to the inside. That's his teammate, the 18 of J.J. Yaley. See, Denny's going to pull up in front of Derek Cope. Now he's going to follow Carl Edwards.
They said Carl's car was pretty tight, and he looks like he's, working through traffic pretty good. We got Todd Cleaver here along with Ron Hornaday. Looks like they're, just marching along there, sitting there in 8th and 9th, and looks like they're having a good run.
Ron Hornaday had such a great run last night in the truck race. Guy right in front of him, the 99 of David Ruderman, he also had a great run. He finished in the top 5. He was 5th. Ron Hornaday, the 33 car right there, was 3rd last night in the Craftsman Truck Series race.
David Ruderman also running that Craftsman Truck Series race just in front of Ron Hornaday. Now, Johnny, you used some strategy last night as far as not taking tires to move up through the field. on a pit stop. Can we see that from some of these Cup guys that had to start in the back?
We may see that depending on when the caution comes, who decides to come through pit road and things of this nature. But last night we did on our second stop, decided not to put tires on, saving for the end, and we really ran not too bad. We still stayed in the top 5. A couple guys fell back when they did it. Some of the guys were able to stay up front. So really depends on the handling of the car and what they think they can get away with, and you know, if they want to save tires to the end of this race.
Denny Hamlin able to make his way by the 77 of Bernie Lamar. That moves him up into the 26th position. Carl Edwards is 60, also able to make his way by.
It's probably going to really depend on how fast these guys come up through. We see Denny up there. He's got a great car. He's coming up through there quick. He's probably using a little bit of his tires, although he's a very smooth driver. But if he can get up there with that lead pack near the front, he's going to probably do the pit along with those lead guys up front.
These teams have 6 sets of tires when they get here to the racetrack. They have to get in back 1 set of tires after practice. So they will start this race, for the most part, everybody with 5 sets of tires, 1 in the car, 4 in the pit. So that should be enough to run, obviously, an average of 50 laps on each set of tires. But as Johnny mentioned, it depends on how far they get up as to whether they feel like they need to do some pit strategy and maybe do 2 tires or maybe even no tires on a pit stop.
Even though they can go 90 to 100 miles on fuel, the tires seem to go pretty good up to about 75 to 80 miles. So the pit window with the gas and the tires is going to be pretty close to each other. So it shouldn't be really an issue as far as when you have to come in and pit early for tires or anything like that. It should be pretty much as a fuel stop.
Here's a good look at turns number 3 and 4 here at the Milwaukee Mile.
Statistically speaking, Phil, of the last 9 races since 1997, they have all been won from a top 10 starting position. Now, does that rule out these guys that had to go to the back?
Well, I think we have extenuating circumstances here. Yes, the Truck Series race ran their 12th event last night. It's never been won from further back than 8th. In this race, only 4 out of the 15 times we've had a Busch race here has the winner come from outside the top 10. So you would think that would preclude somebody like Kevin Harvick from winning. But actually, you know, people like Denny Hamlin is going to be credited with starting first, even though he had to go to the back of the pack. His race result is going to be listed as starting first. So if Denny Hamlin wins this race, then it held true. The guy that qualified in the top 10 won again.
I'm not sure if that's really fair to do that for Denny, but you know, it's going to be interesting because just like that race we saw last week, we don't know who's going to win this race. It could be one of those guys that did start at the back, could be somebody from the middle, although the statistics show that it comes from the front.
Who believes in statistics? Those are there so that we can say we beat the statistics or we beat the odds.
There's a couple cars right there, the 64 of Steve Wallace and the 5 of Kyle Busch that had to move to the back of the pack. Steve Wallace had a great qualifying effort, but hit the wall on his second lap. He had to go to the back of the pack for unapproved adjustments. Kyle Busch had never sat in that car at this racetrack till he got here just before the race. They're trying to move their way through the field right now. The 64 of Steve Wallace is currently running 31st.
Out in front, he's led all 13 laps to this point. It's the 4th time Paul Menard has led in 2006, but it's the first time Paul Menard has led at the Milwaukee Mile. Paul Menard, Johnny Sauter, Clint Boyer, David Strimmy, and Kenny Wallace, your top 5.
Just want to tell you about the number 00. Johnny Sauter is in 2nd place. Right. Let's start with Menard, I guess, because he is up front. And you know what? This is definitely the race that Paul Menard wants to win most in his career because he is from Wisconsin, Eau Claire actually, and his crew chief Dan Stillman is from Nashua. So these guys are Wisconsin boys and lots of fans in the crowd here rooting on. Now let's go back to the 00. Johnny Sauter is tight in the center and really tight coming off. Now that's going to be a big problem for him here tonight because we know for a fact that this racetrack will get tighter throughout the course of the night. That's what everybody told us last night. So Sauter may be in trouble later in the run because he's already tight. Krista?
All right. right, Ray, you talked about two Wisconsin boys. Kenny Wallace, he's not from Wisconsin, Missouri. It's still in the Midwest. He's having a great run right now. He started 7th. He is up to 6th. And, you know, last year was really kind of, he turned things around as far as Milwaukee goes. It was the first time he'd scored a top 10 in 5 races here. His best finish here was way back in '96 when he finished 4th, but he was 8th last year. Right now, Kenny is saying his car is neutral on entry. He likes it on entry, but it's tight in the middle. That is what he is talking about with his car. Kenny Wallace, number 22, currently running 6th.
Kenny's brother, Mike Wallace, in the number 1, right behind him.
Kevin Harvick has already made his way up into the 8th position. Started back in 18th. Already on the move. Now what that means, he's so close to the front now, he will have good track position. He will not have to do any kind of fuel only or maybe 2 tires to try to get track position. He's already got it.
Well, they almost played a little bit of pit strategy by coming for qualifying. The other Cup drivers didn't make it here in time for qualifying, and so they had to go to the back because someone else qualified their cars. Kevin and Clint made sure they were here to qualify their cars.
Battle for second place. There's Clint Boyer, the 2. You just mentioned him on the inside of this 00 of Johnny Sauter.
Sauter drifting up the racetrack. Clint Boyer getting on the gas a little bit quicker, and Clint Boyer will race Johnny Sauter across the front stretch in front of the grandstands to try to take second away.
Ray told us earlier that Johnny Sauter is complaining about being tight. He's going to be a little bit vulnerable right there. Clint Boyer was able to pounce on him, get that second spot.
Looks like Clint's car looks like it rolls the center really good. We saw that last night in the truck race. And if you can roll that center, as you saw Johnny Sauter slide up the track, you see him, he's holding it. If you can roll through the center, you get right up underneath him, and then he pretty much has a spot as you come up off.
Roll the center. Explain that to me.
Well, it's when you go down into the corner, this track is fairly fast. It's hard on brakes. But you go down into the corner, you use the brakes, get off the brakes as soon as you can, and then just coast. You're just trying to coast through that center at a fairly good speed, obviously, but then you have to be able to pick up the gas. But when you go back to the gas, you want to be able to keep it right on the floor, all the way off the corner without going up there and brushing into the wall there.
Speeds upwards of 130 miles an hour when we get into the corner.
150 miles an hour entering the corner, down to about 95 miles an hour in the center of the corner. There's a good battle for 15th right there. That's Stephen Light, the 90, a Robert Yates development driver. Right behind him, that's John Andretti in the PPC, number 10. RVs.com on the hood. And there's the 66 of Scott Wimmer. That car's been driven the last couple of weeks by Greg Biffle. He obviously is not running all the races this year, but he did do the double the last couple of weeks. He's not doing it this week. And there comes the 20 of Denny Hamlin.
He has just been marching up through the field like you can't believe, just moseying right along. But look how low he's been able to stay. If he can stay down there, the thing's going to roll through the center extremely quick. He'll be able to get underneath people anytime that he wants right there in the center, and that makes for a great race car for the rest of the night, I'm sure.
37th to 18th in just 25 laps. Ray, how about Denny Hamlin?
Well, Phil, he's real good on entry into the corner, but the problem is it's tight in the center, and it's getting worse. He said on a 1 to 10 scale right now, it's only about a 4, but he says he expects worse here shortly. Good on entry, but tight in the center. How do you fix that?
Might take a little wedge out or something like that, right, Johnny?
Well, I mean, when he says it's tight, it's not tight to a lot of guys, I can tell you that. He said being able to just run right on the line. They'll come in there and they'll just be able to maybe make a wedge adjustment. They'll do some air pressure, whatever they have time for, maybe raise the track bar. So we got a pretty good battle here for the lead.
On the right of your screen, Paul Menard just in front of the 2 of Clint Boyer. Clint Boyer all over the back of that Menard Chevrolet.
I really like the way that AC Delco Chevrolet looks, don't you, Jenny? Look how low he's able to keep it.
Low and quick through the center. It hurts him just a little bit here because he didn't get the run that he wanted, or he was just a little too close to the fender there. 4 cars, a little bit of a gaggle there. Kyle Busch on the inside, the 36 of Tim Sauter. Sauter, another Wisconsin native.
As Augie Vidovich, the 4-car right behind them, and on the outside, Steve Wallace looks like he's going to try to go by Tim Sauter on the outside. As Clint Boyer on the right of your screen glanced to the inside of Paul Menard again. He is so good, Johnny, through the center of the corner. But you see, Paul Menard is diamonding the racetrack. That means he's letting his car slide up a little bit in the center and then turns back down to the bottom. If he ever gets that car about a car width up, then Clint Boyer's going to have his nose in there, and he's going to have to stay outside. That's what's going to happen. You see, look how much higher he's getting. One of these times, Clint's just going to get the move on him. He's just being patient right now. I think that he knows that Paul's car is just going to keep moving up.
And you'll see the one time he thinks it's up a little too high, he's going to dive right underneath there and go for the lead.
This is for first and second. Now behind them, almost a second and a half, is Johnny Sauter in third. So actually Clint Boyer could just sit back and follow Paul Menard around here because they're both running faster than third place.
I think he'd rather lead, though. Don't you, Johnny?
He's going to want to lead for sure, but he's going to try to do this as safe and as easy on his equipment. We're already 29 laps in, no caution. He's trying to get there, but he's trying to be smooth and just trying to make sure he's got tires for a long time.
He's probably also trying to feel his car out a little bit here because he was one of the drivers that was not here for practice. He ran 2 laps. That was qualifying, and that's all he had for the feel of the car.
He knows what he's got right now. Right? He knows right now that he's probably got the best car in the field. Although Kevin Harvick, his teammate, you see Clint again on the inside, just hugging the yellow line, the curve. He's going to get side by side off of turn number 4 with Paul Menard for the lead. Clint Boyer.
Clint Boyer with the nose just in front of the 11. That will make Clint Boyer the leader as they go across the start-finish line, and the AC Delco moves in front of the Menard Chevrolet.
I think right now you're going to see Clint pull away from him. Once he gets past this lap traffic here, he's probably going to pull pretty quick. I mean, he's going to be looking in the mirror, make sure he's not trying to pull away too fast.
Most of the America's Cup races are decided even before the start in the wild 5 minutes.
It's about a sharp strategy, the right team, knowing.
Attack now!
It's about deciding what's right, moment
3,
by moment.
2, 1, start!
Allianz, a global leader in risk and asset management.
Now you can get in great shape, build muscle, and you can do it fast. All you have to do is dial it up. Turn up the results with the Bowflex Select Tech free weight system. Now you can dial up the weight you want, anywhere from 5 to 52.5 pounds on one single dumbbell, giving you powerful biceps, a strong, sexy core, even chiseled legs and thighs in an easy 30-minute workout. Just turn up the results. Want 15 pounds? Just turn the dial to 15 and start lifting. Ready for 40? All it takes is the turn of a dial. Only Bowflex could make free weights this easy.
One 30-minute workout 3 times a week is all it takes to build muscle and burn fat. Even when you don't have time to get to the gym, you have time for Bowflex Select Tech. Call now to order Bowflex Select Tech free weight system for $299.85 plus $19.95 postage and packing, or 3 easy monthly debit or credit card payments of $99.95. When you call, don't forget to ask your operator about the sleek chrome stand to keep your Select Tech in peak condition. Select Tech delivers great results. See results in 6 weeks or less, or get a full refund of the purchase price. Bowflex Select Tech gives you the flexibility of 30 separate free weights. Call now and get your Bowflex Select Tech for just $299.85, or 3 easy monthly debit or credit card payments of $99.95. Call now.
.37 laps complete. Clinton Boyer out in front of the field for the AT&T 250 on FX. He's put about a second and 7/10 between himself and Paul Menard since he got by him. Let's go a little deeper through the field with Chris Devote.
Well, you'll remember when Clint Boyer climbed out of his car after qualifying, he said it was nerve-wracking, that he was nervous not getting any seat time at the track this weekend. Well, it's working out so far so good for Clint Boyer. He is saying the car is a little bit tight in the center. That was around lap 13, so perhaps it's freeing up for him a little bit, because right now Clint Boyer is running up front, right?
Krista, Paul Menard is currently in second, and he is driving his very favorite race car in the entire stable. This is chassis number 14, and with this exact same car, he finished second at Richmond. Menard just loves this car, and it's running great tonight. Now, right behind him is the 00 of Johnny Sauter. You remember a year ago here, we only got 200 laps in because of the rain, and on that very night, Johnny Sauter led 162 laps. We know that Sauter is good at Milwaukee. Krista?
Ray, you just mentioned the number 162, minus a few of that, 100. That's how many starts, Busch starts that is, Jason Leffler is making tonight. He started 9th, he is running 4th. He has a lot of experience here. He finished second twice in the truck, second twice in his Busch starts here. Now he's looking to increase that to a top 5 at least. He would love to have a win Meanwhile, David Stremme in that 41, he was hanging around the truck race last night. We saw him on pit road. He is enjoying the car. He said it's running pretty well. He's actually being very quiet on the radio. David Stremme not saying a whole lot right now. Meanwhile, Kevin Harvick is saying quite a bit. He was complaining of 4 solid shocks. He said the car was actually hopping around quite a bit. Then he said, hey, I don't care if it is hopping because it is running really well. It is just a bit free off. It's got a little bit still of that wheel hop. Kenny Wallace, meanwhile, we talked about him a little bit earlier. He was neutral on entry, tight in the middle. But right now, his car running very well. Kenny Wallace is running right now exactly where he started, 7th. Ray?
Good run for Mike Wallace tonight. He is currently in 8th position in that number 1 car. And remember, it was back in 1994 Mike Wallace won at this track. So we know that he's one of the guys that can get the job following his brother Kenny on the track. Right behind him, Ron Hornaday, the king of restarts. And when it comes to Busch racing at this track, he's led 4 of the last 5 races. Hornaday had a good run last night in the Craftsman Truck Series. And the number 99 has moved up into 10th place. He is going, no, he's going by Hornaday there. So Rd17 moving his way to the front. He has said on the radio that he is pushing the nose and chattering the tires a little bit in that Aaron Stream machine. So Rd17 having a little trouble in the corner, but evidently he's fast enough to get around Hornaday.
That's your top 10. Clint Boyer still in front of the field.
Yeah, we had a change for the 4th position. The 41 of David Stremme got by the 00 of Johnny Sauter. So we watch Clint Boyer, our leader. He's opened up a little bit over a 2-second lead right now over the number 11 of Paul Menard. You can see the very bright day glow green or lime green, whatever kind of color that is on Paul Menard's car. That's him right there. That's the differential between 1st and 2nd. Almost 2.5 seconds right now.
The other cars that are coming up, you know, Leffler and Stremme are moving, and you know, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th are a little bit closer, and 5th together than maybe what the leader is. So we got a pretty good race still for 2nd. A lot of great side-by-side racing here at this racetrack, and it's just a matter, you know, when that caution comes out, let these guys adjust on these cars, and the race will get tighter. So we'll see how long this green will go. I'm sure it'll go for a little bit. This track is always known for its long greens.
There's a 00 right there. That's Johnny Sauter. He's our 5th place car. Right left of your screen, that's the 41 of David Stremme. Used to seeing Reed Sorensen in that car. He decided to stay on the West Coast. David Stremme stepped in because he's having a substitute driver out on the West Coast, Scott Pruitt, for Chip Ganassi. So David Stremme comes to one of his very, very best racetracks. 3 starts here, 3 top 5 finishes for David Stremme.
Clint Boyer running very strong right now, because he has put the 31st through 41st a lap down. That means that there are currently 30 cars on the lead lap, and Tim Sauter about to go a lap down. J.J. Yaley also about to go a lap down. That would be big news for a Cup regular if he would get passed by Clint Boyer. The AT&T 250 continuing on Fox. Clint Boyer almost 4 seconds now in front of Paul Menard. Someone checking out on the field. He has put the 28th car, Curtis Davis, a lap down. So 27 still on the lead lap.
Regan Smith, the 35 car, is next on his hit list, and then the 47 Armor All Ford of John Wood is next. Remember, John Wood is in a backup car. He had trouble in practice, lost his primary car. There's Clint Boyer right there, and there's the McDonald's Ford of Regan Smith. Would love to see a caution flag right now, and it would save his lap.
Clint Boyer running very, very strong. What an amazing feat that is, to not practice a car, come in, qualify at 4th, and then really run away from the field.
Yeah, that's just a testament to the driver that they got in the team to be able to set this thing up. Knowing what Clint Boyer likes in a car, that is a huge key when you come to these tracks. So they got it pretty much perfect by the results right now, and Clint was able to jump in the car, qualifying great, now sitting there in the lead just lapping these guys. Unbelievable how he's running.
We have to give Brandon Miller a lot of credit. He's the driver that practiced this car for a couple hours today and got it set up for Clint Boyer to be able to jump in that thing as you see him move to the inside of the 47 of John Wood and qualify that car up in the front 2 rows, qualified 4th, and then took over the lead and is now just driving away from this field. almost a 4-second lead right now on Paul Menard. There's a good battle heating up for third. That's the 41 of David Strimmy trying to get by the great Clips Chevrolet on the outside, and he does it. Drives by Jason Leferwood. Takes over the third spot.
It's almost a guarantee that David Stremme is going to finish in the top 3. His average in 3 starts here is 3.3. That's his average finish.
It's amazing how good he's coming off turn 4. I know that he said he's good down in the corners. Watch a lot of the truck race. Watch where guys could pass and couldn't pass. And I can see he's coming off 4. It looks like that's where he's pretty strong.
Johnny, it looks like when he gets his car turning in the center of the corner, as you talk so much about, when you get the throttle down, keeping it down, it looks like he's able to do that.
He's able to do that and still staying right down on the black, right where you need to be. Just barely scoots up in that outer groove a little bit, but it enables him to put the power to the ground and just drive right up off the corner.
One of the drivers doing double duty that's made the biggest move so far in this race is the 20 of Denny Hamlin. Hamlin car was qualified on the pole, but because we did a driver change, Denny Hamlin had to start in the rear of the field. So he has moved up progressively and now has broken into the top 10.
Just this last lap has gotten by the 99 of David Ruderman, but we can use a lot of brake at this racetrack, and you're going to see a lot of the brake rotors glowing right there. You can catch a glimpse of it right there, the red right inside the wheel, Ray.
Yeah, Phil, and I think that's a little tribute back to what I was saying earlier with him being tight in the center. Makes you use those brakes just a little bit more. And Denny came on and said he feels like the brakes might be fading just a little bit. And they said, yeah, we can see that they're glowing red hot when you get to the center of the corner. There you got a good shot of it. The brakes are red hot there. Now, a lot of guys will be like that, but Hamlin has had to run through the field doing that and maybe using up a good bit of brakes here. We're at lap, what, about 57 here? So I think we're going to see pit stops coming up pretty soon. And Denny Hamlin has moved all the way up to 8th place. What a run.
Yeah, Ray, we can see the rotors glowing a little bit, but Johnny, they don't stay red. So it looks like he initially checks the speed a little bit as he enters the corner. As you mentioned, gets off the brake, rolls through the center. So the brake rotors are not glowing red for very long.
No, but the speed here is so great that it adds a lot of surface heat real fast. That transfers into the pads and into the calipers. Now, he's not going to really have a problem. He probably needs a caution, let it cool off, do a little bit of adjustments, and that won't be a problem. His biggest problem is coming through traffic. He used a lot of brake right there at the start, so he'll probably just pump him up a little bit. And because he's just a little bit tight, he's going to ride that brake just a little longer than he wants.
Now, all of this heat that is also being put on the tires, can that cause a problem? I mean, we've heard about the bead of the tire breaking.
It can, but it doesn't look like we had any tire problems, last night. And with the cool temperatures, I don't know if that'll become an issue, but it could. I mean, there is enough heat there to get the tire hot, to get the bead hot. But this is a place where you don't use a ton of camber in the right front. So I don't foresee that to be a huge issue.
Kevin Harvick started this race in the 18th position, has moved up into the top 5, currently running in 4th. Could it be another win for Kevin Harvick? Look at the 5 cars we've got going across the start-finish line.
Denny Hamlin's right in the middle of that. You see the 20. He's got his teammate a lap down car. Watch out now. 3 wide off of turn 2.
Mike Wallace on the inside of that. Denny Hamlin in the 20. J.J. Yaley on the outside. J.J. Yaley a lap down now.
That's a battle for position between the 1 of Mike Wallace and the 20 of Denny Hamlin. Denny actually took over the 7th spot for a moment. Mike got it back in that heavy traffic right there. There's the 99 of David Ruderman. That's our 9th place car.
There is some great racing throughout the race here, just in a different spot. See how guys are sliding up, using the racetrack. Starting to go around. That's sure to be a caution.
Saw the green car got turned around. Not exactly sure who that was. The caution flag is going to come out. We'll take a look. Oh, that's the 85 of John Hayden.
Yeah, he was right behind that group. We just caught a glimpse of him right in the center of 1 and 2, get turned around there. I don't know if he had any contact. I'm not sure, but looks like he doesn't have a great deal of damage. You see a little damage to the right front corner. Maybe he got into somebody and probably tried to stay off of them, Johnny, and turned his car hard left, and around he went.
That's what it looked like he was doing. It looks like he just started to get together. He had the wheels turned. They bumped and it just pulled it back right out from underneath him.
What will you be watching this weekend? Formula One, World Rallying, the BTCC, Indy Cars, or grassroots club racing? Whatever delivers your motorsport fix, Autosport magazine tells the real stories behind the action every Thursday. Autosport magazine, the voice of global motorsport for over 50 years, gives you the essential news, views and reports from every lap and special stage around the world. Log on to www.autosport.com to subscribe today. Now, if you thought day one of the French Tractor Pulling Championship from Bernay was impressive, be sure not to miss the highlights from day two. It's all on Motors TV this coming Saturday, July the 1st from 7 p.m.
On motorstv.co.uk, you'll find the complete Motors TV program lineup. The shows, the times, and the frequency of the reruns. Check out the day's schedule by hour or keyword. You can also access all the content for the week. Check out motorstv.co.uk, the site of Motors TV.
The top teams in the LMS have returned from Le Mans and are ready to return to the championship battles at Lime Rock Park. Audi versus Dyson, Aston Martin versus Corvette. Round 4 of the LMS from Lime Rock Park comes your way on Motors TV Sunday, July 2nd from 1:30.
Look at the Craftsman pit summary. Clint Boyer came in first, went out first. He was probably the best one on pit road. Stremme moved up a spot.
We saw Menard have trouble. He got blocked in, dropped from 2nd to 7th.
Great crowd always here at the Milwaukee Miles. The green flag comes back out. Clint Boyer did make an adjustment on his car, and that's bad news for the rest of the field.
If it worked, it's certainly bad news. I don't know how that car could be any better than it was, but Bernie Lamar actually got the jump. He was on the inside line. Got the jump a little bit on Clint Boyer. Clint's going to try to make his way around him.
Kevin Harvick, we're being told, is not very happy. Krista?
Well, guys, you know, Kevin Harvick never at a loss for words. He's having some very choice words on the radio right now. They had a very bad stop. They had some trouble with the jack on the left side of the car. And to kind of sum it up, Kevin said, you know, guys, I didn't really feel like traveling 3,000 miles to look like an idiot. They're trying to get things worked out. His crew chief, Shane Wilson, said, Kevin, I promise you I'll fix it. And I paraphrased it.
Thank you. The family show. Kevin Harvick, he shouldn't feel too bad. He dropped to 8th. Now he's been able to work his way up from 18th to the top 10. I'm guessing he'll be able to do somewhat the same now after they've made some adjustments to that car.
And we made mention of Bernie Lamar getting cautions out. That will allow Bernie Lamar to stay on the lead lap.
And it probably will mean that J.J. Yaley will get the free pass, which J.J. Yaley was actually the second car a lap down, but as you mentioned, Bernie Lamar had such a great start, was able to get in front of our leader, Clint Boyer. He was actually on the tail end of the lead lap.
Saw for a moment the 10 of John Andretti and the 06 of Todd Cleaver involved. There you see John right there. A lot of damage to the rear of both of those cars.
It's Clint Boyer out in front. Can anyone stay with him? We're going to find out. The green flag flies. Boyer in front of Denny Hamlin.
We got a report that Clint Boyer was warned by NASCAR for that most recent restart. We're not sure whether they maybe thought he went too early or too late or whatever the case may be. Bernie Lamar essentially beat him down to turn number 1, so maybe he went and then stopped, and that's why Bernie got ahead of him. But nonetheless, NASCAR has warned Clint Boyer about the restarts. That looked like a pretty good restart right there.
Sometimes those restarts are tough. You know, all you're doing is just trying to get a good restart. And if the inside guy tries to jump early or something like that, it kind of makes the outside guy look bad. So we didn't see a replay on that to see exactly what they were upset about. But the warning, you know, the warning went down to him. I'm sure he just made whatever adjustments they wanted. Looked like a pretty good restart there.
Ray Dunlap, what have you heard?
I just want to let you guys know, on my end of pit road, I got about 20 cars here. Just checking in with them, I see we've got 16 or 17 of them made adjustments by raising the track bar, trying to loosen their cars up here. So as we predicted, this racetrack going to be tight. Most of the cars were tight. Now realize we went 64 laps in that first run there, so fuel load will make a big difference on these cars too. But just about everybody on my end raising the track bar.
That's heavy traffic. There's a 33 on the inside, Ron Hornaday. There's a 64, Steve Wallace on the outside. A lot of cars right after the restart. We always talk about restarts breeding cautions. Caution breeding cautions. We saw that just a few moments ago. Still a lot of heavy traffic here.
That battle you were just talking about was for 17th.
Oh, there's some contact right there. I think that was Steve Wallace, that black car on the inside, number 64. Looked like he made some contact with the 08 of Jason White. Now Ron Hornaday is going to drive to the inside of Steve Wallace.
That's a battle for 17th. Ron Hornaday trying to take it away from Steve Wallace.
Steve got a good run off of turn number 2. He was able to keep the momentum up. Drove on back around the 33 of Ron Hornaday. Now he's looking to the outside of the 66 of Scott Wimmer.
Side by side, pretty much around this track right now.
That's one thing that's great about this track is you can get some good side-by-side racing. You can pass on the outside. Maybe Steven got a little harder than he wanted right there. But look at the run he gets coming up off the corner there.
66 of Scott Wimmer coming into play now as Wimmer running 15th in front of Wallace and Hornaday. And so those two cars look as though they're going a little bit quicker than Wimmer.
Yeah, Steve Wallace looks like he's overdriving the corner, Johnny. The last two corners, he's driven in too hard. That made him slide up in the center of the corner. He lost a couple of positions that he worked so hard to get.
Yeah, he's just a little too tight probably, and then sometimes it gives you that sense of feeling I can just drive this thing in there. But if you can't get that turn to be able to get that run coming off the corner, it's just really hard. As you can see, some almost side or three-wide racing.
Three-wide racing, JB.
Yep. And then they just kind of backed off there, but this is for third, fourth, fifth, right up in some good racing there.
Denny Hamlin taking the top spot from Clint Boyer on the outside. Clint Boyer having to check up now as Hamlin takes over the point.
It looked like Clint had almost backed off because Denny had pulled up to the outside, but when they got down to the center corner, he got back in the throttle. Denny came back down to the bottom of the racetrack. They almost made contact.
Denny Hamlin now out in front of the field. He's the third driver to lead around this field. Clint Boyer, Paul Menard, the other two.
And it only took him 80 laps to get to where he should have started. Yeah. Or where the car would have started.
Started in the very back, even though his car sat on the pole with Eric Almirola. As you mentioned, Johnny, 80 laps it took him to get to the lead. You think he's got a good car?
He's got a really good car, so I'm sure that they're happy with it. Whether he can talk to the guys or not, it doesn't matter. He's got a pretty good hot rod.
Back in the field just a bit, the 59 of Stacy Compton just in front of Scott Wimmer in that 66. Joel Kaufman in the 12 on the outside.
There's Danny O'Quinn. He's also on the lead lap. He's battling with those. The 64. There's another. There's the 90 of Stephen Light. There's Kyle Busch in the 5. Big time battle. There's J.J. Yaley. Remember, he got the lucky dog. He's back on the lead lap. He's right behind the 5 of Kyle Busch.
All for position. This is about 15th through 20th right now. This gaggle of cars.
Big time wad of cars. Another side-by-side. Clint Boyer drives back to the inside of Denny Hamlin.
Looked like Denny's car was really good, but Clint's just run the bottom so good that he was able to just go ahead, get a good run, get back by him, and well, almost back by him. It's a great racer for the lead. You know, earlier we saw he almost had a 5-second lead. Now side by side for the lead.
I love to see him racing like this for the lead. So many times, Johnny, and we were all guilty of it. When somebody comes up and chases you down, you let them go by. But these guys are racing for the lead.
That's right. You know, but they've flown all the way across the country. They're not going to give up this lead spot. They want to race for it.
Clint Boyer on the inside in the AC Delco Chevrolet number 2. Denny Hamlin on the outside in the number 20.
Two Nextel Cup regulars battling here for the lead in Milwaukee.
Neither wanting to give it in. Boyer on the inside, Hamlin on the outside. Looks as though Clint Boyer is going to take the top spot. Now Hamlin on the inside. He's going to try to do the crossover move.
Try to do the crossover. May be able to pull up to the quarter panel. Not quite this time. Clint's going to probably stay out a little bit wide. Give him some room. Let's see if Denny can get on the throttle and get underneath him.
This is exactly why the fans come to Milwaukee every year to see racing like this.
We see a lot of that throughout the field, but sometimes not for the lead. This is just pretty good racing. This is great to watch.
And Denny Hamlin ran his fastest lap of the race since he put tires on it. About 10 laps ago, he ran his fastest lap of the race, and just a little bit quicker than what Clint Boyer's fastest lap of the race was.
Boyer faster around the mile that last time by. Well, almost 0.2 of a second, and so Clint Boyer now comfortably out in front. He's got about a 3-car lead over Denny Hamlin. And that is widening.
If you enjoy working with computers and would like a rewarding career in computer maintenance and IT support, then this message is for you. Serco IT Training and Recruitment is known for high-quality, hands-on training, but Serco offers more. We find careers for our candidates. In fact, Serco is so successful that over 98% of students have been offered jobs after completing our fast-track 4-week course. But we can't offer Serco training to everyone, as our employers demand only the most committed and able of candidates. So if you think you can succeed in IT support, take the first step today. Take our online test now. sercotraining.co.uk. Computer maintenance and IT support training that works.
The Baby Channel for pregnant mums and parents of preschool children. It's free to watch on Sky Channel 285 and online at babychanneltv.com.
Augie Vinovich out in front of the field in the number 4, but not for long. Mike Wallace makes the pass on the inside of the number 1, so Wallace out in front of the field.
Looked like maybe Augie had a little bit of a debris on his tires. He drove down in the corner. The car would not stick. Went way up the racetrack as we see Denny Hamlin driving by the 12 of Joel Kaufman. Gets side by side with the 27 of David Green.
David Green running for position with Denny Hamlin. Joel Kaufman a lap down.
There's Carl Edwards right there, the 60 car. There's the 00 right in front of him, Johnny Sauter. There's Clint Boyer, the AC Delco Chevrolet on the outside.
Now, it could have been that Carl Edwards came in and just got fuel because he was able to move up quite a few positions. We're not sure, though, because he's still running very well on the inside of Clint Boyer.
Yeah, Carl had made his way into the top 10 after his pit stop back on lap number 64. Good side-by-side battle. Look at Carl Edwards going to drive the inside of his teammate, Danny O'Quinn.
Carl Edwards trying to move to the front, being scored as they go across the start-finish line. Edwards in 8th position behind Johnny Sauter.
Kevin Harvick moves to the inside of his teammate, the 2 of Clint Boyer. That's a battle for position with the 11 of Paul Menard right behind him.
I think once Clint gets into some open air here, he's going to start to say, man, I want to get away from this 3-wide racing. He's got a good race car, just stuck back a little bit in traffic, and I think as we get going, he's going to be, become the dominant car again, I believe.
Before that last caution, I wanted to ask you, those 2 cars ran side by side for like 7 laps, and then all of a sudden Clint Boyer checked out. What was the difference?
Well, I think Clint's car is probably just a little bit free maybe at the start. I know he's saying it's tight, but we saw that yesterday a little bit. You get tight for about 2-3 laps, you get a little bit of heat that right front, and all of a sudden it starts to turn. And the minute that it started to turn for him, he just drove right by.
Clint Boyer now on the inside. His teammate Kevin Harvick in the 21 just behind him. That's Joel Kaufman, a lap vehicle on the outside.
There's Johnny Sauter, the yellow freight Chevrolet, the 00. We saw him up for a moment. There's J.J. Yaley, the 18. Paul Menard, the 11. Looks like J.J., who got the lucky dog a couple cautions ago, has worked on his car, made it better. Now he's running with some real good cars.
Running in 12th position right now. So J.J. Yaley, what a difference of extremes there for being a lap down to now being battling up in front.
There's Clint Boyer on the inside, side by side with the 27 of David Green. That is a battle for position. That's a battle for the 8th spot. Kevin Harvick, the 21 Coast Guard Chevrolet, is going to come with Clint Boyer. Now he's going to slide a dime in the racetrack, right back down the bottom. See if he's going to follow his teammate, the 2 of Clint Boyer, by the 4 of Augie Vinovich. Remember, Augie stayed out there. That is a battle for position.
3 wide. J.J. Yaley tried to get on the inside of Kevin Harvick. Harvick to his outside was the 4 of Augie Vinovich. And now up front, Mike Wallace has got a mirror full of Denny Hamlin. Ray Dunlap, what's going on with J.J. Yaley?
Well, we saw him on the pits there just not too long ago, and what they did is they went to the left rear shock and opened that up a couple of clicks and also made a big air pressure adjustment in the right front. J.J. went out, went back to the racetrack, and he says, guys, this feels like a completely different car. I can roll through the center now. It's much, much better.
Side by side for the lead. Denny Hamlin takes it on the inside.
Hamlin wants to be out in front of this field. He takes the top spot away from Mike Wallace.
Well, what kind of a season has Denny Hamlin had? He had one full season of Busch experience under his belt. He jumped in that FedEx car last year, ran the last handful of races, got a good battle for third as we're talking about that. Jason Leffler takes over the third spot from David Strimmy in the 41, but Denny Hamlin really came into his own this year. He won the Bud Shootout at Daytona. He got his first Busch win at Mexico, followed that up with a win at Darlington, and then wins the Nextel Cup race at Pocono. What a season for Denny Hamlin.
A lot of momentum. And Johnny, I talked to you a little bit earlier about momentum. You won at Michigan, and then you won the truck race here in Milwaukee. Is Denny Hamlin feeling that momentum right now and riding the wave?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's just one of those deals where it seems like once something starts to go right, it just keeps, snowballing, keeps going that way. But for him to have that in the Busch Series and the Cup Series, that's a pretty phenomenal deal.
We saw the same thing last year, as we got a three-wide battle. That's the two of Clint Boyer on the inside. Remember last year, Carl Edwards, he went to Atlanta, he won the Busch race on Saturday for his first Busch win, came back the next day and won the Cup race in Atlanta. And then what a terrific season he had. He won, I think, 4 Cup races and 5 Busch races last year. What a terrific 2005 for Carl Edwards. I think maybe Denny Hamlin is the Carl Edwards of 2006.
He is for sure right now, and just he's just being smart. I mean, that's the thing for a young kid like Denny to come into sport and drive fast is one thing, but to race smart is another, and he's done a tremendous job this year with that.
You earn the respect of your peers. I mean, you're not going to have these veterans trying to teach you a lesson if you sit back there and you race them clean and you more like act like a rookie.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes as a rookie when you're on there, you get overwhelmed with things that are going around you, and it's not like you're trying to make mistakes. You're just not really clear what's happening. And like I say, Denny Hamlin has done a tremendous job of that. Whether it's the people that's around him helping him and things of this nature, seems pretty mature for his age.
Denny Hamlin with a 1.7 second lead over Mike Wallace now. Jason Leffler in third, David Strimmy fourth, Johnny Sauter rounds out our top 5. Just outside of the top 5, Carl Edwards in 6th, Clint Boyer, Kevin Harvick, J.J. Yaley, and Paul Menard, your top 10.
There's a shot of Steve Wallace in the 64 right there.
You can see just how easy it is to overdrive that corner. And if you're just a little bit tight, you just zoom, slide right up the track.
That's Joel Kaufman, the 12 we're watching. Look at, see a lot of smoke out of the 64 of Steve Wallace.
Yeah, I think he's just got a little bit of a fender rub there. Right when he gets hard on the brakes, front of the car dives down to the ground, and he might just have a little dent on top of the fender, which we see here in this shot, and it's just smoking the tire, just a little bit under heavy brake.
It looks like a little more so when we get down in turn number 1. Steve remains on the lead lap. Remember, he had such a good qualifying effort.
On his first lap.
Hit the wall on his second lap. They had to make repairs, and they had to go to the back of the pack, but he stayed on the lead lap. We're over 100 laps into this race. He's doing a good job. There's the 88 of Mark McFarland, JR Motorsports, Navy Chevrolet. Right behind him, that is a battle for position.
Top running rookie right now just in front of him, Danny O'Quinn. That's a battle for bragging rights for the rookies. Danny O'Quinn and Mark McFarland running 17th and 18th.
Mark McFarland, the 88, looks to the outside of the 50 of Danny O'Quinn. See if he can make this pass. He's going to have momentum as he comes off the corner. He's going to get a little bit of a straighter shot off the corner. Danny O'Quinn's going to have a little tougher time to get the bite on the inside of the racetrack. And Mark McFarland is able to pass Danny O'Quinn. He's going to take Steve Wallace with him.
At lap 120 or 111, Denny Hamlin out in front of Jason Leffler, Mike Wallace, David Strimmy, and Clint Boyer. Jason Leffler, could he be the David versus Goliath tonight? We'll find out. The AT&T 250 on FX continuing. from the Milwaukee Mile. Beautiful evening. We were a little bit worried about the weather coming into this race, but it has held off, and holding off the rest of the field is the 20 of Denny Hamlin. Let's go back through the field from the top 10. Oh, we've got a caution coming out on the racetrack. 76, Jarek Johnson, and that's Bernie Lamar in the 77.
Yeah, the Kingsford Ford of the 59 of Stacy Compton got a big piece of that too. That's down in turn number 1. Bernie Lamar able to drive away, but a tremendous amount of damage to that Dollar General Chevrolet. Look how short the back end of that car is.
Yeah, you can see the tail section dragging on the racetrack right there. That'll pretty much end your day unless you get a chance to get back to the garage, try to porta power the tail section back up.
Tremendous amount of damage to that car.
Oh, and
rear spring
just gonna have to reset it up.
And there comes some more debris.
Stuff.
Gene Nee's got a lot of work to do this week.
Yeah. The Gene Nee, crew chief on that car.
Again, this is our 4th caution. We look back at how this took place.
Here we are. This is right past the start-finish line.
Well, it actually started on the front stretch there. It looked like he got clipped in his right rear and turned him. And boy, at that part of the straightaway, that makes it tough to try to avoid stuff at that speed.
And you see the 59 on the inside, Stacy Compton, Jarek Johnson, the 79. I'm sorry, 76, and the 77 of Bernie Lamar.
Safety crew still attending to Jarek Johnson in the 76.
Pit road's closed right now.
We'll be back to let you know what's taking place at the Milwaukee Mile. Bernie Lamar upset. He goes in the pits.
Round 6 of the Champ Car World Series will see twice champion Sebastian Bourdais and Justin Wilson take their championship battle to the unique airport circuit in Cleveland, Ohio. Be sure to tune into Motors TV for the best moments from one of the best open wheel races of the year, Wednesday, June 28th from 7 p.m. Australia is famous for kangaroos, the Great Barrier Reef, and the awesome road train. In Australia Road, we'll meet those folks who make their living at the wheel of these stunning lorries that can only be found down under. Australia Road, Wednesday, June 28th from 9 p.m.
Can we re-rack it, Keith, and then catch up somewhere?
Now let's TiVo.
Can we re-rack it? Just play from the start. Hey, 30 laps into the race, they showed the start. IRL shows the first segment twice, Keith. Yeah. Be no contest.
Oh, that race is tonight.
Yeah, no contest. No contest, guys.
Although they haul butt around that track.
Where?
Richmond.
Just back underway at the Milwaukee Mile. Tim Sauter out in front of the field. He decided not to come down pit road. Mike Wallace in the #1 behind him. Denny Hamlin moving up into third.
Side-by-side battle right there. The 38 of Jason Leffler takes over the spot from the 41 of David Strimming.
And this is a product of guys who just took gas and guys who took tires. Like Denny Hamlin took tires, Mike Wallace got gas, and Denny just drives right around all of them.
Tim Sauter stayed out on the racetrack. He's got 2 sets of tires in the pits right now. A lot of these other fellows like Denny Hamlin only have 1 fresh set of tires left in the pits for the last 120 laps.
Yeah, we just went past the halfway point of this race. That's a long ways to go with 1 set of tires.
But I think that's okay. If you divide the remaining distance in half, that's 60 laps for each set of tires, and I think they'll be fine, don't you, Johnny?
1 set of tires would be fine to finish this race out. You can get a good 70 laps, but we did see a little bit of a view of some of the tires down there. Some of the guys looked like they had some issues, but all in all, Goodyear brought a great tire last night. Looks like a pretty good tire for tonight, too.
We saw Ron Hornaday with some serious wear on the inside of his right front tire, but that was after 64 laps. Again, if you have 1 set of tires, you divide 125 by 2, that's a little bit over 60 laps.
As you see, Jason Leffler taking over 2nd spot from Mike Wallace here. Looked like his car's handling pretty good, especially right down low.
Well, Jason has had a good race this entire race. He's had a good car, hasn't he, Krista?
Hey guys, Jason Leffler really has such a great car. They have made very little, if any, changes on their last 2 stops. 4 tires and fuel. He is saying it's a little free, but really good. No adjustments on either stop, lap 92 and this last caution around lap 123.
We see Clint Boyer also zipping up through here. He's gonna be right up here in a couple of laps also.
Yeah, we saw him get 4 tires along with his teammate Kevin Harvick.
Tires are huge. I mean, you know, it takes just a little bit to get heat in them, and all of a sudden they're really, really good through the center and off. And as they get running this race, whoever's got another set, provided the cautions fall right, another set is going to be good as long as those guys that didn't take tires get too far back in the field.
Denny Hamlin obviously going to be a player for the win tonight. Jason Leffler is going to throw his name into the hat as far as I could be a contender at this race. Clint Boyer has been strong this entire race.
Just ran the fastest lap that lap, 30.259. That was a good 1/10 of a second faster than our leader, Denny Hamlin. There's the 41 of David Strimming. Here comes J.J. Yeley. Remember, J.J. Yeley was a lap down, and now he's racing in the top 10.
Sometimes all you do is need a pit stop to just make that right tweak. And if you know, sometimes you can be off just a little bit, and it really hurts you. Just that little bit of adjustment, wham, there you go.
The amazing thing is, J.J. Yeley has to thank Bernie Lamar. Bernie Lamar had a great start, got actually in front of the leader, and that put J.J. Yeley the first one down a lap, and then the caution came out. And so J.J. Yeley got very lucky to actually get that first lucky dog.
Yeah, but he was probably going to get the next one anyway, because he had already worked on his car and made it better. So, but here he is, already took over the 7th spot right there, and so he's able to use that track position a little bit quicker. There's a good battle for 4th right there. The 11 of Paul Menard takes it over from the 1 of Mike Wallace.
Paul Menard also showing a very strong car here tonight. That means that we have now 4 Chevrolets in the top 4 spots. Hamlin, Leffler, Boyer, and Paul Menard are your top 4.
Here comes the Dodge of Mike Wallace, having such a good run last week in Kentucky, had a top 5 finish. First one of the year for Mike Wallace. He's only ran a handful of races here.
And Mike's doing a pretty good job here on the molded tires, being able to at least stay still in, in 5th spot. That's not too bad.
He may have an extra set of tires. And the problem is right now, if we go 40, 50 laps, everyone's going to come down pit road, put tires on, and he certainly will too. Well, then he may not have enough time to put another set of tires on 20 or 30 laps later, because he will lose so much track position. Because we know most of the people, like Denny Hamlin, like Clint Boyer, Kevin Harvick, only have one more set of tires. So I think Mike Wallace, the cautions will have to fall just exactly right for him to be able to use that last set of tires.
Nephew, Steve Wallace, just behind him. I'm imagining that the family reunions at the Wallace house have got to be pretty interesting.
They probably could talk around racing, I would think. There's a good battle right there. There's the double zero. Johnny Sauter, the 21 of Kevin Harvick. That's a battle for 7th right now. They were just able to get by the 41 of David Strimmy and the 60 of Carl Edwards.
Yeah, Kevin Harvick looks as though he's starting to move toward the front now as we pass the halfway point. It looks as though he's getting more comfortable with that.
And this is the very same car that he won with this year at Phoenix and at Richmond. Talked to Shane Wilson in the garage area and said, hey, did you run the same setup? You've been so good with that car. He said, no, we actually came with a very similar setup to Phoenix, and we had to change it quite a bit. So Randy LaJoie was a substitute driver. They made quite a few changes. Obviously, Kevin Harvick's able to drive that car right into the top 10. Now he looks to the inside of Johnny Sauter, runs across the rumble strips a little bit, trying to get the 7th spot away.
Battle for 7th, Kevin Harvick right behind Johnny Sauter.
It looks like, Harvick is definitely a little bit better, and Johnny kept cutting him off just a little bit there, but it looks like he's got a pretty good run on him now.
Let's do a top 10 drop back, starting with Denny Hamlin and Ray Dunlap.
Now, this is one of Denny Hamlin's favorite cars. It's chassis 43, and they use this on the short tracks. It's always good when they go to Richmond, really good at Phoenix, tracks like that, and certainly good tonight as Hamlin started way in the back of the field and has run to the front and showed that he has the dominant car tonight. How about Clint Boyer, Krista?
Clint Boyer also very dominant. He is saying his car is just a little bit loose on that last stop. They put 4 tires on. It had 2 lap scuffs to him, so just a little bit scuffed on Clint Boyer's car. Jason Leffler, don't look for any charity from him. He is running towards the front. He is saving the charity for this Monday. That's when he will visit the Minneapolis Children's Hospital and Clinics and take part in the Great Clips Charity Golf Classic. Jason said it's one of his favorite times a year. He would like nothing better than to tell those kids a story of how he won at Milwaukee. Ray?
Good car for Paul Menard tonight, and you know what? His car just wouldn't go on the bottom on the white line, so they've asked him to try the high line. He says he likes it up there a little bit better. Put a little rear brake into that car, and it has been much better. Currently in 4th position. Now right behind him, J.J. Yaley. We've already documented that he was down a lap. They've made big repairs to that car. Early in the race, he said it's plowing like a dump truck. Second pit stop, he said it's pushing a little. Right now, he says the car is really good. Now for Mike Wallace in that number 1 car, he has been flirting around the top 5 all night long tonight. Currently running in 6th. Wallace hasn't really said a whole lot on the radio. We see right behind him the 21 with Harvick. Krista?
That's right, we're going to Kevin Harvick because he just passed Johnny Sauter on the track. Kevin Harvick running much quicker lap times than Johnny. He hasn't quite caught up to the lap times, though, that Mike Wallace is turning right now, but Kevin Harvick definitely more comfortable with his car. Ray?
Real good pit stops for Johnny Sauter tonight, a 13.8 and a 13.9. Both real good stops, but the problem is Sauter's car is bouncing in the center on the bumps. He says he just can't hold it real well to get through the corner as fast as he'd like. With those bumps, it slows him up a little bit in the center. Krista?
We've been talking a lot about the guys who are going to have tires left. One of those guys who I don't think we mentioned is the number 60 of Carl Edwards. That's right, they took fuel only on that last stop during that caution period, just like the number 41 of David Stremme. Now, David wasn't quite as planned as Carl Edwards. Carl Edwards, his was planned all along, Ray?
Well, Krista, Ron Hornaday was running in 11th, but we get to talk about him now in our top 10 drop back because he just took that Outdoor Channel Chevrolet into the 10th position. Hornaday has made adjustments on that car to try to free it up a little bit and just get better and better throughout the night. He has come from about 15th back into the top 10.
Ron Hornaday running 200 laps around the track last night and doing it very convincingly. Ran 3rd in the Truck Series race, and now using that knowledge and the knowledge that he had from past races here to break into the top 10.
Look at this big wad right behind him. There's the 90 of Stephen Light, that 41 of David Stremme. Remember, David Stremme took fuel only. He seems to be falling back a little bit. He restarted this race up in the top 3 or 4 positions. Now he's falling out of the top 10, racing Stephen Light for the 12th spot.
Plus, we got to remember that David Stremme did not get that adjustment that he wanted, and this is just a result of not being able to get that side bite in the side bite.
There's a 27 of David Green, the 64 of Steve Wallace. There's Steve's Uncle Kenny. The auto's on the board right there, number 22. And there's David Ruderman, the Aaron's Dream Machine, number 99, right behind Kenny.
That's 15th, 16th, and 17th in the running order.
All these stars stand right together. There's a 50 right there at the very left of your screen for a moment. That's Danny O'Quinn. He's running right behind the 99 of David Ruderman. That's 18th spot for Danny O'Quinn.
We are just completing the 150th lap. If we go to lap 151, that means we have 99 laps of racing to go. And speaking 99, right up lap.
Let's talk about that Aaron's Dream Machine. You know, I said earlier, some of these guys saying their car's not responding. The worst one on the racetrack tonight is for David Ruderman. They have raised the track bar at least 6 rounds on that car on various pit stops. It just doesn't make any difference. He chatters the tires in the center, pushing the nose. Cannot get that car freed up the way David would like it.
2 top 10s in a row for David Ruderman. Nashville and Kentucky looking for 3 in a row for Michael Waldron Racing.
Another guy with momentum. I mean, he's been running real well in the Truck Series. The races that he's run in the Busch Series, he's run very, very well. So he's running off momentum as well. He's just trying to get that truck or that car running as well as he wants so he can get it back toward the front.
He's doing a great job for Waldron Racing there. He's just he's jumped in there, run a couple of races, and he's done a really good job.
Guys, did you see Jason Leffler just pass Clint Boyer for the 2nd spot?
He's strong. He's
That's
very
pretty
strong
impressive.
tonight, yeah. Chris DeBoda.
Guys, I want to talk about another car that I've been so impressed with tonight. Number 90, Stephen Light. He is running in 12th right now. He's coming off his career best finish, 10th at Kentucky last week. He's only made 6 starts in the series. He said early in the race his car was very loose, but on each continuous run it has gotten better and better. After that last stop, he said he knows, I know, guys, that we are better than a lot of the cars out there in front of us. It's showing right now. He is running 12th, a 19-year-old with only 6 Busch Series starts.
I'll tell you, Stephen Light, I was talking to Robert Yates just a few weeks ago. He was very, very high on Stephen Light. He said, we have to get him some more seat time. We know he's going to be good. We've got to get him some more races. What a terrific job he's doing. As Kristen mentioned, a top 10 finish last week and knocking on the door of the top 10 right here.
Denny Hamlin out on point. Jason Leffler broke into the top 2. Now he's going to try to reel him in. He's got 2 seconds that he has to make up before he can get to the back bumper of Denny Hamlin.
If you're a motorsport fan, your dreams are about to become reality. The one and only high-speed television channel is launching its own club. Join Motors TV Club and you'll have the opportunity to attend some great sporting events, as well as to benefit from a selection of impressive offers, invitations and prize draws. You will of course also receive all the latest news and information. Join now, the club for real motorsport fans. For further information and offers, visit www.motorstv.co.uk.
Denny Hamlin was actually on pit road when Jason Leffler was trying to come down pit road.
Well, Denny Hamlin is right in front. Here we get their leaders coming down pit road. Paul Menard inherited the lead with Jason Leffler's spin.
Chris DeBoda.
Kevin Harvick just got on the radio and told his crew, come on, guys, remember Phoenix. Kevin Harvick, of course, winning at Phoenix and Richmond. That's the same car that he has here tonight. His crew is actually making the tire change on the right-hand side. They pull a tear off the windshield and work their way around to the left. Remember, they had that poor stop. They had trouble with the jack earlier tonight. That's because they were running such low air pressures. They couldn't get the jack under the car. This time, no troubles. Kevin Harvick is down and away. Ray.
The reason Paul Menard has the lead now is because they knew they could go to lap 2:11 before they needed to pit, and they wanted to stretch it as far as they could. Paul Menard will be the first guy off pit road. You saw J.J. Yaley was way back in his pit box. They make an air pressure adjustment. Menard keeps the lead.
Great pit work by Paul Menard's crew and J.J. Yaley's crew. J.J. came out second. Kevin Harvick third. Clint Boyer fourth. And Jason Leffler fifth.
Impressive work on pit road that time. I mean, they really needed to shine, and they did.
Here as they finish up the, watch their reaction right there. They know it was a good one. They know they got him the lead.
That's what I'm talking about. You see one of the guys yelling as his car goes running off a pit road.
That's the best feeling you can have, is come down pit road, got 4 fresh tires, and then come out in the lead.
And this is what the pit crews live for. That's what they practice for every day, is for a pit stop when it really matters. Whoever gets, a lot of times, whoever wins the race off pit road ends up winning the race. They just won the race off pit road with a little over 40 laps to go.
Phil, JB, who was that car we were talking about that was a lap down, got the lucky dog, and we thought, I wonder if he would ever be able to win this race?
JJ.
He's second.
Second. That's just a phenomenal day for those guys. It's unbelievable. Come in, made a great stop. Kevin Harvick made a great stop. Those guys are on fresh tires. 42 laps to go. It's in a good position.
Hey, Rick, we've had the lucky dog about a couple years now or something like that. How many times do you think it's happened in the Busch Series that a driver got a lucky dog and then came back and won the race?
Well, Russell showed me the stat, so I have to tell you I know.
But I don't. What is it?
It's one.
Just one?
One time.
Justin Labonte in Chicago.
Only one time has it been done, and so J.J. Yeley could be the second.
We saw it this year with Top Out On. He got the lucky dog. Was it Texas?
Yeah.
And came back and won the race. So we saw it in the Truck Series just 2-3 races ago.
Here we go. The number 11. Currently restarting in the 3rd position in line is our leader. He goes to the outside on the restart. We've got 40 laps of racing to go. Paul Menard looking to win in 06.
We're getting a report from NASCAR that the 90 of Stephen Light, who had such a good run going, was penalized for pitting outside of his pit box, and that would be a lap penalty.
Ray Dunlap.
You guys saw a great restart there by Paul Menard as crew chief Dan Stillman reminded him, start easy and leave a little room in front of you. Make sure that under no circumstances do you run into anybody. So Menard lagged back a little bit to make sure those first 2 cars got going. Now he's going to have clean air out in front of him with just Denny Hamlin, who's on the tail end of the lead lap in front. Yellow flag.
Problems in turns 1 and 2. We see Ron Hornaday in the 33 spun around. A lot of smoke.
That puts Denny Hamlin right back on the lead lap. But Johnny, as you mentioned, he's going to restart this race about 20th. We're inside of 40 laps to go. He's out of contention to win this race. There's no way, with as good a cars are in front of him, he's going to pass all those cars. But he does have a shot to certainly improve his position.
He does, and as good as his car is, he needed that break right now. He couldn't afford to have 20 laps come off the board. We're going to see just how good he is, how good his car is, to see if he can come up through like he did earlier in the day. But if you remember right, it took him about 80 or 90 laps to get to the front.
There's the 33 of Ron Hornaday. He's already sideways. The 88 of Mark McFarland goes by on the outside. Car's going left and right. It doesn't appear as though anybody made contact. We're not sure exactly what happened to start that situation. This is Carl Edwards.
Carl Edwards.
That's Ashton Lewis right in front of Carl. Still can't quite see exactly what may have caused that situation. Carl got very, very slow there to avoid that. Carl was a lucky dog that last time, so he had to restart this race at the tail end of the longest line. Now he doesn't have to do that. He can line up right behind all the lead lap cars here, and he's going to be able to improve his position.
Green flag flies at Paul Menard, J.J. Yeley, Kevin Harvick, Clint Boyer, and Jason Leffler.
Great start by Paul Menard. He was able to drive by all the lap cars. J.J. Yeley got hung up a little bit beside the 66 of Scott Wimmer. 35 laps to go. How big do you think this would be for Paul Menard? From Wisconsin, so many family and friends here. Had a great run last year, finished 3rd.
His first Busch win.
First Busch win, and the 2nd win in a row for a non-Cup regular.
What would that be like to win in your home state, the first ever race in the series? What would that be like, Johnny?
Well, based off of a week ago, it's as good as you can get, I can tell you that. Because you always have a lot of family, a lot of great friends, and it's just neat to be able to do that. And, then all you have to do is go do it again.
He's checking out on these guys.
This clean air just means a lot to any race car or truck or whatever it is you're racing. You're running pretty good. And, but we got J.J. Yeley and Kevin Harvick. Looks like they're moving pretty good, too. So you can't give him the win yet. There's a lot of great racing to go.
Clint Boyer trying to work around the 00. Now, he is a lap down.
Jason Leffler right behind Clint Boyer. Remember, he had the lead. He spun out, caused the caution. There's David Green. He's right behind the 38 of Jason Leffler. We haven't talked a whole lot about him in the Kleenex Ford. Oh, right behind him.
That was David Green that actually got into the 41, it looked like, of David Stremian. So Green had problems, as you were talking about him, got into David Stremian. This causes our 7th caution.
He got loose, Johnny, going in turn number 3. He got sideways, collected David Stremian, put David in the outside wall, brings out the caution flag. What a horrible break for David Green. But it was a situation where he got sideways on his own, made some contact. You see the damage to the rear of his car. A lot more damage to the 41 of David Stremian.
This is a time of the race that you're doing everything you can to try to get to the front. You take that little extra chance of having your car right on the edge getting into the corner. And as you see, it doesn't take much. All of a sudden, that back breaks loose. And when you try to correct it and you have a car next to you, you just make contact. And, you know, you got to hate it for David Stremian and for David Green.
Paul Menard looking for his first win in the NASCAR Busch Series. He will bring the field to the green flag. We're back underway at the Milwaukee Mile. Good restart for Paul Menard. Gets his preferred line.
Another great start. I mean, you got J.J. Yaley and Harvick stuck behind Stephen Wallace here. Although Stephen's running a pretty good pace right here, but they did not want to see him get between him and the leader.
Paul Menard is loving this now. Now he would like to stay green because he's got that little bit of insulation between him and the second place car. And you know Kevin Harvick's going to be all over the 18 of J.J. Yaley trying to get position number 2.
Paul Menard, clean air out in front of that number 11. Behind him, J.J. Yaley, Kevin Harvick battling for second.
Harvick looks to the inside, not quite able to do it. The 18 shuts the door on him. J.J. Yaley in second. They still have the lap car of Steve Wallace on the outside. J.J. drives to the inside. Harvick trying to go even underneath him.
Looks like Stephen Wallace is finally, just going to move up, let these guys go race. And still, though, Menard has got just a little bit quicker times, but just because these guys are in just a little bit of traffic.
J.J. Yaley in front of Kevin Harvick. Harvick looking for his 4th win of the 2006 season.
Steve Wallace is going to stay to the outside, stay out of the way. Now he's racing too. He's racing cars that are laps down, but he wants to get the best finish he can. But he is giving those guys room on the bottom of the racetrack.
Clint Boyer just behind Kevin Harvick at number 2 AC Delco Chevrolet.
As you see, Kevin Harvick.
Problems. Look at that. Steve Wallace got way high out of the groove.
He's got a flat left rear tire. I think when Kevin went up there and hit him, I think he was a little mad that he was there. Goes up there and bangs in the side of him. Takes a left rear tire right off Stephen Wallace.
And it's starting to disintegrate.
Starting to come apart. NASCAR's looking at that. That may bring out the caution flag.
I believe that tire just...
Oh, trouble right in front of him.
And we got problems in 3 and 4 also.
The 36 of Tim Sauter gets turned around.
As you said, Paul Menard did not want to see this caution. He had a nice, healthy cushion that has now just got wiped away.
He had a 2-second lead on J.J. Yaley when that caution came out. Could be a big break for Steve Wallace. He may be able to get down pit road without losing a lap. Watch Kevin Harvick right here.
This could have been how Steve Wallace has problems with his left rear.
See if there he makes the contact right there. It doesn't take a whole lot. He may have knocked the valve stem out of that tire.
Yeah, the exhaust pipes stick out just a little bit there. When you go up there and bump into somebody, the body gives, but the exhaust doesn't. And all of a sudden, it just blew the tire, and it's going to start coming apart down the backstretch. NASCAR's looking, but the problem comes when everybody gets just bound up just right here a little bit. Tim Sauter gets turned around. It looks like that's about the only thing that happens right there. Just a little bit of damage, not bad.
Yeah,
but the caution comes out.
The 98 of Aaron Crocker actually made contact with the 36 of Tim Sauter. Watch, here's Carl Edwards. Again, Carl's seen everything that happened on this racetrack. Watch the bottom of the racetrack. Watch right there. There's the 98 of Aaron Crocker making a slight bit of contact with the 36 of Tim Sauter, but enough to turn him around going into the corner.
It looked like all of a sudden Tim kind of switched lanes there because of the slowing car of Stephen Wallace, and Aaron was just coming in there, and just like say, just a little bit of contact, enough to get him turned around, brings the caution out. Paul Menard just going, man, not now. We didn't need that.
What's going on, Ray Dunlap?
Well, guys, the fastest car on the racetrack most of the night has been that Rockwell Automation car, Denny Hamlin, and he restarted 17th there when we had 35 laps to go. Now, I realize there's only 20 to go, but boy, he has been making progress towards the front. I think we got to keep our eye on Hamlin, who's up to 12th right now, and a couple of cars right there. Let's see, 3 of them in front of him that are still very, very tight. With Hamlin coming on hard, I think he has a shot at getting back at least to the top 5.
Cushion header. Pajero! Oh, you beauty! Well, you don't need me to explain it. Just watch this. Let the pictures tell you everything. This is special.
Thanks to former F1 driver Jonathan Palmer and Audi, some of the best and yet to be polished open-wheel racing talent have an opportunity to shine. Join Motors TV for all the excitement that is Formula Palmer Audi, Thursday, June 29th from 8:30.
Round 4 of the French Formula Renault Championship and Clio Cup will be run at the Val de Vienne circuit. Renault in France from Val de Vienne, Friday, June the 30th at 5:30.
Hey, we got a restart.
It'll be 17 to go when they come across the start-finish line. Paul Menard in front of J.J. Yates, Kevin Harvick, Clint Boyer, and Jason Leffler.
Menard got another great restart. He's got the 5 just for a moment in between he and J.J. Yaley. J.J. will be able to move to the outside, but he's still got 2-3 car links. He's had great restarts.
He did. J.J. Yaley didn't quite get on the outside of Kyle Busch coming off from turn 2. It kind of slowed him up a little bit. Was able to Paul Menard get away just ever so slightly. But the thing is, JJ's got it. He's sitting there looking in his mirror as Kevin Harvick makes a move to the inside for second place.
I think what's going to happen here, Kevin Harvick is going to make this pass, and Kevin Harvick is going to be able to reel in Paul Menard. Harvick looks very good right now. Yaley was holding him up.
Kevin Harvick made a nice move right there to the inside of J.J. Yaley. Nobody in front of him but Paul Menard.
Kevin Harvick's got not a whole lot to lose here. He's got such a huge point lead. He's going to drive the heck out of his. Paul Menard needs to make good, consistent, no mistake laps. And that's the only thing that's going to keep him in front of Harvick at this point in time.
Good battle for 4th right there. There's Clint Boyer, the AC Delco Chevrolet. And there's Jason Leffler. What a heartbreak this is going to be for Jason Leffler if he's not able to win this race. But nonetheless, it's a great run for Jason Leffler. After the bad luck he's had the last 3 weeks, it's going to be a welcome top 5, but he's not going to be happy after this race.
Jason Leffler in the Great Clips, number 38, just behind Clint Boyer in that AC Delco, number 2. Again, Boyer holding on to the 4th position. Leffler in 5th. Leffler brought out our caution on lap 205, and he was leading the race at that point in time. Only relegated back to 5th with his problems, but now the gap being extended between Paul Menard and Kevin Harvick. So maybe Harvick can't catch Paul Menard right now unless a caution comes out.
Hey, Menard has had a great car. Look at Denny Hamlin going for position on the outside of Carl Edwards. Carl's hung behind the lap car of Aaron Clark of the 98, and he's going to grab another spot. That moves Denny up in the 8th position. Maybe Ray Dunlap was right. Maybe Denny's going to get all the way to the top 5. 13 laps to go.
Well, and that's also a points battle right now between Denny Hamlin and Carl Edwards. Carl Edwards was 2nd in the points coming into this race. Denny Hamlin's trying to knock away some of those points and maybe move himself into second.
It looks like he's going to definitely gain some more points, as he just looks like he's just driving around on the outside of these cars. Some of them lap cars, some of them for position. So he's doing everything he can to try to get back up in the top 5, running 8th right now.
There's Carl Edwards right there, the 60 middle view screen. He's currently being shown in the 9th position. That's the 35 of Regan Smith right in front of him. He's down a lap. He's being shown in 23rd. Paul Menard was the fastest car on the racetrack that last lap, about a 1/10 of a second faster than Kevin Harvick. If he can keep up that pace, he's got him a win.
He's doing exactly what he needs to do. Just hit his marks, be smooth, and be smart.
Once again, he was about 8/100ths of a second faster than Kevin Harvick. Paul Menard is setting the pace right now, and he's easing away from Kevin Harvick. He's a little bit over a second and 2/10 ahead of Kevin Harvick.
The caution flag comes out now. Problems in turn 2. Looks like Stephen Light might be one of the cars, and Steve Wallace.
And it looks like Stephen Light wasn't too happy with him, so it'd be interesting to maybe get a replay and see what happened here.
Well, that's something Paul Menard certainly didn't want. He was coming down on 10 laps to go. At least there's not going to be a lucky dog. It's going to be a single file restart. He's not going to have a lap car to get in between himself and Kevin Harvick.
He kind of liked that luxury of having that second place car just on the outside there.
Watch his crew right there. They're not real happy with this caution flag either. Not any smiles down there in that pit yet.
Well, Kevin Harvick looked pretty strong on the short runs. He was able to work around J.J. Yaley early on in the run, and so maybe Kevin Harvick's car is a little bit better on the short runs, which would play into his hands. Paul Menard looks very strong as they get more laps on the tires.
Yeah, which, as we saw Paul Menard the last 2 restarts, had good restarts. So it's going to be really interesting. It's going to be a great race right down to the end here.
We're being told there is going to be a lucky dog because they were coming down for 10 laps to go. So Augie Vidovich in the 4 car will be your lucky dog recipient. But that will still be a single file restart because we will restart this race with less than 10 laps to go.
That'll put 22 cars on the lead lap. So 23rd, Regan Smith will be 1 lap down. We take a look on top of Paul Menard's pit box.
The suite.
Yeah, the Paul Menard's suite on pit road. And look at all the people up there that are getting ready to celebrate.
You got people three deep on that.
Yeah.
Is that 2 or 3 stories, that pit box thing?
That's very impressive.
A very impressive drive right there for Paul Menard. He's got inside of 10 laps to go. Paul's mom right there sitting down. You know how excited she is, how nervous she is right now. She's not even smiling.
She'll start smiling here shortly, I'm sure. Paul Menard, some 616 points back from Kevin Harvick, and he's got Kevin Harvick right in his rearview mirror. He's probably saying, well, it's not going to be that big of a points night, but I don't even care right now. If I can beat him, if I can get the win, that'll be big.
He's not thinking anything about points right now.
Points are out of the deal. A couple of nervous people, probably more nervous than the driver.
The restart, 7 laps of racing to go. Paul Menard tries to hold off Kevin Harvick as they go through 1 and 2.
Looked like Harvick definitely tried to get on his bumper, tried to free him up.
Problem, Aaron Crocker right at the start-finish line. That will bring the caution out one more time. 10th caution of the night now.
Paul Menard is going to have to do it again. He's going to have another restart. And I think that's his most vulnerable time, Johnny, is right on the restart.
Right on the restart there, but he just learned something on that one. He's just got to apply it, do the exact same thing. It'll be very interesting to see what happens. As we see the incident here with Aaron Crocker here, they start to go. Looks like some people check up, and she just got bumped by Todd Cleaver and just turned her right in the outside wall. And this happens so fast. I mean, it doesn't. You think, well, how come they just didn't put on the brakes or something? A lot of times you just can't quite see through the vehicle in front of you. And somebody messes up in front of you, and then bam, there you go.
Well, there you see right there her nosing in the outside wall. But, you know, you're in the throttle, and all of a sudden, bam, you got to get back on the brake. And, you know, it's a chain reaction. It doesn't happen to the first car that slows down, or the second one. It's usually third, fourth, or on back.
Well, that caution just tied the record for the most cautions set back in 1996. They had 59 caution laps that day. hopefully we're not competing against that.
See Aaron Crocker in for her pit work. There's the Rockwell Automation team right there. Denny Hamlin. Denny's being shown right now in the 7th position. Got by John Wood, the 47, the last time by under green.
You hear him talking about that restart.
They're going, we pulled them just a little bit on that start. You know, they're starting to get excited now, knowing that, hey, we beat them through 1 and 2. I think, you know, we just have to do it again. And hopefully only one more time.
When they go by this time, well, they're going to have to go another one. So we're going to be very close to 3 laps of racing when we restart this. So it will be a sprint to the finish.
NASCAR wants to make absolutely sure that the racetrack is clean. They don't want any debris left on the racetrack. Somebody run through it and cut down a tire.
Well, I want to hear a prediction out of you guys. Can Paul Menard hold on, win this race, or will Kevin Harvick get by him?
My guess is I think Paul will do it because he's got it. There's just so much right now that he wants to accomplish, and his first victory here at his hometown is one that's huge. I just went through this a week ago. You're going to do everything you can. The guy's going to have to knock you out of the way to get by you. Now, you know, he's got to be smart. He's got to get a good restart. He's got to get through 1 and 2. And I think if he's got that momentum coming off turn 2, he's going to be okay. It's still going to be a race right down to that line. But I think he's got the preferred spot right now.
I agree with Johnny. Again, the restart's critical. Making sure he doesn't miss a gear. Making sure he gets into turn 1 in the right position. If he beats Kevin Harvick off turn number 2, I think the race is his.
Well, it will be a sprint to the start-finish line. Chris DeVota.
Well, I just wanted to add that I agree with Johnny, and I don't even know what you guys are talking about, but he's a 2-time winner, so I agree with Johnny.
Oh, thanks, Krista. Thanks
Good
a lot.
addition to that. Well, I'm going to put more merits into it because Johnny Benson's also a champion in this series. Ray Dunlap, have you got 2 cents worth?
Well, I'll throw my 2 cents in because I'm going to disagree with you. I'm rooting for Paul Menard. I think it'd be great. These guys deserve a win, but it's not going to happen with Kevin Harvick back there. He is the master, and that's why he's got such an incredible lead in this series. Kevin Harvick will go to fake to the inside, probably take a look to the outside, and pass him before they get to the checker.
Well, that would be Kevin Harvick's 21st victory. So Kevin does know a little bit about winning races in the NASCAR Busch Series. Paul Menard would like to know what it feels like to make it to victory lane. And he will have about 3 laps that separate him from victory lane, and we'll find out if he can stay in front of him.
Hey, don't get me wrong. I don't think Paul Menard's got this in the bag, or it's going to be easy. But that's my pick.
Sure. He's got 3 laps to go, but the first half lap is critical. Maybe even the first quarter of a lap. Again, if he can get off turn 2 with the lead, I think he's got it. But that's going to be the hard part, is getting up through the gears, getting through turn number 1, making sure Kevin Harvick doesn't stick that nose on the inside of you, maybe bump you a little bit, get you sideways, get you out of the groove, and drive up next to you.
That's the critical part going into turn 1. That's how close Kevin will do that. I think Kevin knows that he wants to win the race, and Paul, it's his first win. He doesn't want to knock him out of the lead, but he'll take air off him and do what he has to do.
Here we go. Paul Menard, Kevin Harvick all over the bumper. He goes to the inside right as they cross the start-finish line. 3 laps of racing to go.
He's against him. He's right against him. He's still against him. He's turning him sideways. He gets turned around.
Kevin Harvick. Harvick spins around. He had J.J. Yaley all over the back bumper. Harvick spins around, and now he has a melee on the backstretch.
This looks like this about took out the whole top 4 or 5 of the field here, and I think what you saw there was he did exactly what I thought he wouldn't do, was try to knock him out of the way. J.J. Yaley saw that same opportunity, went up and spun Harvick out.
There's Mark McFarland, had such a good run going.
Let's take a look at what Paul Menard's team thought when this last caution comes out. Oh boy. They knew that he had beat him out of turn 2. They were celebrating that, and then all of a sudden the caution comes out.
Wait a minute, guys. Don't look now, but guess who's running maybe 3rd? Denny Hamlin in this race.
2nd or 3rd. It's going to be really, really interesting here. Now, you know, I knew that Harvick was going to be on his bumper there, trying to take the air off. I really didn't think he'd start beating and hitting him and trying to knock him out of the groove. Yeah, he did a little bit of block here. You expect that with 5 to go. But here, the first one, well, he shouldn't have probably done that. The second one,
he's
probably
him there.
Yeah, well, underneath him, he's, yeah.
completely underneath him. Not beside him, but completely underneath him. Exactly, and then a lot of damage there. 59 of station. Here's another view. You see him get him turned completely sideways, but then that seizes him up enough that J.J. Yaley's right there, and he makes contact with the back of him, turns around Kevin Harvick, and look, these drivers couldn't see a thing.
No. That was tough. I mean, we saw J.J. taking an opportunity to maybe sneak by this whole deal too, but just gets in the back of Harvick a little bit.
Well, they slowed down. See,
they did.
When Kevin Harvick got into Paul Menard, he got him sideways, so their momentum slowed a little bit. J.J. had a run. He was in the throttle in the center of the corner. He just came up on him so fast. That wasn't a situation where he... Watch this now. This is Clint Boyer.
No, you can see him get on the brakes hard. It just wasn't
just
quick enough.
Time. There's Clint Boyer turning around. There's Kevin Harvick right in front of him.
And see, Clint Boyer got on the brakes, got slowed down, and then got hit from behind also.
You think you look the business. She thinks you look overworked. React.
An innovation from L'Oreal Men Expert. Hydra Energetic Anti-Fatigue Moisturizer. Hydrates and recharges your skin for a lasting, healthy look. Hydra Energetic from L'Oreal Men Expert. Expert technology for every man's skin.
And what you think are great lines, she thinks are premature wrinkles. React.
Wrinkle Decrease Anti-Expression Wrinkle Cream from L'Oreal Men Expert.
You're worth it too.
You know, we've ridden with Carl Edwards to see all of these accidents. I can't imagine what it would be like to be driving this car through all these accidents.
Carl's going to get a piece of this accident right there. Watch, there the smoke is right there. It's on the outside. Ooh, Mark McFarlane gets turned right into Carl Edwards. Then John Wood gets turned around right in front of Carl Edwards. He missed a lot of them, but unfortunately there was nothing he could do about that.
Just sometimes the odds are stacked against you. If every one of them are in front of you eventually, and as close as he's been.
Yeah.
And it looked like he pretty much had that clear until somebody come up, hit Mark McFarlane in the side, and then put him in the wall when he was beside him.
So we would assume this time by that they will let them know one more time before we get the green, and then it will be a green, white, checkered. Now, if they race and the white flag comes out and there's a caution, the race is complete.
The race is complete no matter what happens.
Only one attempt.
Yeah, I mean, if they take the green flag at the start-finish line and they wreck behind them, that race is going to be official. And again, to determine a finishing order, we will go to all videotape and every means possible to determine who finishes where. But right now, they've given the 1-to-go signal, maybe 2 laps. Paul Menard, the biggest day of his career.
Yeah. I think they'll run the full 2 laps. I don't think they'll have any issues right now. I think these guys want to get it done. The only gray area is going to be is the top 3 right there, top 4. But I don't think anybody's going to spin anybody. They might, a little bumper tag maybe.
Johnny,
but
I wouldn't be too sure.
Well, again,
I'm confident this time.
Okay, all right.
This time, the top 2, Paul Menard, J.J. Yaley, 2 drivers that have never won in the Busch Series, looking for their first win. Ray Dunlap.
Just wanted to show you that they did review the video and look at the loops, and they have changed Leffler and Hamlin back. Hamlin will restart 3rd, Leffler in 4th.
That could be big right there. Denny Hamlin's going to restart this race in 3rd. If anything happens with the front 2, he may be in a good spot.
This is it. 2 laps of racing. from the Milwaukee Mile, Busch Series, 17th race of the season, and it comes down to this.
Same thing applies here. How Paul Menard gets off turn number 2. What happens between now and turn number 2 may determine who wins this race.
Paul Menard will lead the field. J.J. Yaley right behind him. Denny Hamlin, Jason Leffler, Stacy Compton, your top 5. Here we go. 2 laps of racing. J.J. Yaley looks to the inside of Paul Menard.
I'm not sure Paul Menard didn't miss a gear. Look at Denny Hamlin on the outside.
Hamlin got a little high, had to check up as they worked their way out of 2. There goes Paul Menard. He is running away from him. But here comes Denny Hamlin on the inside.
He's going to take over second from his teammate J.J. Yaley. He's going to have a little bit over 1 lap to go to catch Paul Menard.
Coming out of turn number 4. It is the 11 of Paul Menard. Then the 20 of Denny Hamlin. Paul Menard 1 mile away from his first win.
This is where it gets nerve-wracking. You got to make sure to hit your marks. You know you got a guy behind you that's got a fast race car. Paul knows he's got a fast race car, but he still has to hit his marks. No mistakes. He's proud to get around here. He get his first victory here in Milwaukee. I'm sure he's pretty excited.
Working his way through turns 3 and 4. Coming out of turn number 4, the Wisconsin native will see the checkered flag and win the AT&T 250.
What an awesome job by the entire DEI team. Paul Menard, the Menard Chevrolet. Look at those guys. You think they're happy?
How about the fans here in Wisconsin? What a great race they saw in the NASCAR Busch Series.
They were all on their feet cheering their hometown guy all the way across, and I know that he's got just such a great feeling. You know, I lived through this just a week ago. He's got the best feeling in the world going down that backstretch right now.
Took him 85 starts to claim his first win, but he does become the 4th different driver to claim his first win in the 2006 season. You just heard Ray Dunlap letting the guys know, hey, you got to get to victory lane.
It's all a great shot there of Denny Hamlin's crew coming over to congratulate Paul Menard's crew. There's Kevin Harvick right there.
I believe that's congratulations, right?
Well, I'm not sure. You know, you can't be too mad about Harvick's one that ran into him.
Yeah. If Harvick can be mad with Boyer if he wants, I mean, with J.J. Yaley. J.J. Yaley's the one that got in the back of Kevin Harvick. But I tell you, I don't think so. I think Kevin Harvick knows what happened. He knows that Paul Menard was trying to win the race. Harvick did what he had to do. Paul Menard did what he had to do. It didn't work out this time for Harvick. It did for that guy.
Crowd on their feet. Paul Menard says, would you please give me that checkered flag? The first win of his career in the NASCAR Busch Series. And they'll drop it down. We'll see if Paul Menard can get a hold of that.
Oh, almost.
Very close.
That's hard to do. That's very hard to do. I waited until somebody gave it to me, you know. Or maybe he'll get
58 laps around this mile. Paul Menard waiting for a crew member. He'll come over and grab that flag for him. Hand it to him. He will celebrate. We're being told NASCAR said, driver the 21, we'd like to see you in the hauler after this race. So Kevin Harvick will need to talk with the officials at the conclusion of this race. Checkered flag in hand. Paul Menard will now celebrate around his home track.
It's going to be a big celebration here in the state of Wisconsin. Looks like a pretty popular victory with a crowd, too.
Let's go right down to Krista Voda. Krista.
Kevin Harvick climbing out of his car. Kevin, I know you flew a long way, traveled a long distance to get here. That is not the outcome you wanted. You got on the radio and gave your team a rally cry saying we didn't come this far to run second. Unfortunately, it's not second. It's much worse. Were you robbed of the win tonight?
Oh, I don't think so. I mean, I got a good restart and just got underneath him, and you know, he did what he had to do to protect the bottom, and I got in the back of him, and somebody got in the back of me, and we all just wrecked. So one of those deals. The U.S. Coast Guard Chevrolet was okay. Should have never been behind him anyway. We were horrible in the pits tonight and just got behind. But good hard racing with a couple laps to go, and congratulations to him.
And did you give some congratulations to Paul? Was that a little congratulatory stop with Paul down there?
Yeah, I just wanted to let him know that thought he did a good job.
All right, that's Kevin Harvick. Never at a loss for words, always fun to watch. Kevin Harvick is going to head on to Sonoma, California, another 2,000 miles in a plane tonight.
Oh. Paul Menard is climbing out of his Chevrolet. It says splash on the hood, and we have got A Busch shower here. Splash on the hood. And a big splash you made today. How does it feel to finally get here after all the hard work?
I tell you what, it's a long time coming. You know, all these guys stuck behind me, and man, like I said, a long time coming. Just couldn't be happier.
You look in that mirror and you see Kevin Harvick back there, and you're just about to restart. Then what goes through your mind?
Yeah, I definitely could have done without the last 2-3 restarts. We, as the tires wore down, we just got real slippery on the restarts. I kept spinning the tires, and they kept getting runs on me. And I offered up the outside, but I guess they didn't want to take it.
How about a home state victory? How good's that feel?
Yeah, man, I got my crew chief Dan Stillman's from here. Whole family, friends, tons of people. Awesome. I couldn't be happier. My dad, my mom, sister, girlfriend, everybody.
What'd Kevin have to say to you?
I don't know. I'm not sure if he's congratulating me or.
He says he was.
All right, well, that's good.
All right, congratulations. His dad, John, is here, his mom, Paula, and they are about to have one big celebration. Paul Menard with his first Busch Series victory.
Take a look at the points through 17 races. The NASCAR Busch Series, Kevin Harvick, 344 points over, now Denny Hamlin has taken over the second spot.
Paul Menard jumps up to 6th with that win, gains 2 positions. He was 8th coming in, jumps ahead of Kyle Busch and Greg Biffle, who was not here.
So Paul Menard, big move tonight in the points, moves to 6th, and he is 532 points out of the lead. Well, I wonder if they'll take this celebration from victory lane to their pit box. Because I think they could all get up there. Next race, Daytona. They go back to Daytona for race number 18. That's Friday, June 30th, 7:30 p.m. right here on FX. A great race for Paul Menard, and a non-Cup regular has found victory lane for the second week in a row.
How about that? A lot of people didn't think that was going to happen this year. We've got 2 in a row. Big popular win here in Wisconsin for Paul Menard.
Johnny, what'd you see?
Oh, just a great race. I mean, hopefully the fans sat there and enjoyed this race all the way to the end. First win for Paul Menard. You can't ask for it to be any better. It's a neat deal for him and his family. He's going to love this week.
Great win, hometown hero here. Paul Menard winning his first race in the NASCAR Busch Series.